Hey y'all, Snoop Emu here. Welcome back to another episode of the Talk Emu podcast. I'm trying out a new microphone this time, so I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it or if it's going to be good. This mic is a little more quiet. Hopefully, it's not too quiet in the video. Hopefully, I'll be able to make it louder in editing, but I think this mic is slightly a better quality and will be better appealing, more appealing for the sonicness of the sounds. Um, but if it's too quiet, then I'm gonna go back to the other microphone. So yeah. So hello, welcome back to Talking Podcast. Um, I wanted to. I have a few. I have a lot of ideas planned for podcasts, and I think I'm gonna try to stagger the topics. Like when I do a more focused, like lore related video where I'm like focusing on one specific topic, versus when I'm just doing these like little lists or whatever. These are a little more laid back, um, not as like scripted or thought provoking. So I think I'm going to try to alternate those back and forth. So in the next episode will be a more focused topic, and then after that will be like another list type video. And today I am continuing my series on my favorite games throughout the eras. Today we are looking at the eighth console generation, the Xbox One slash PS4 era. Now, I do want to say, this era is a little messy. It's a little sloppy. Especially in my life, it was a little messy. This era started like 2013, 2014, somewhere in there. I was still in high school, and this era. So the ending of this era is perplexing because I think technically the Xbox Series X came out in like late 2020, but for obvious reasons, it was hard to obtain this Xbox, so the generation was kind of postponed. A lot of people didn't get the new Xbox till like 2023, which is when I got the Xbox Series X. So there were a lot of games that were, I think, made technically for the X, but was released on the One because no one had an X, or I played them on the One because I couldn't obtain an X. And also in the other direction, because I was in high school, I didn't get an Xbox One right away because I was like too old for my parents to spend that much money on me. um, so I got an Xbox One a little late. I think like late 2015. Um, so yeah, but I did play the Xbox One a bit before that at like my cousin's house, and I think my dad owned one before I did, but I never really got to play it. So I'm going to be talking about the games from that era, which there's a lot of great games from that era, but it's just so foggy in my memory because like my brain tends to skip from 360 to Series X. Because at that point in my life, I was graduating high school, I was becoming an adult, um, I was working all the time. I was trying to juggle college on top of it. So there was a good chunk of time that I didn't play video games. So there's a lot of games in this generation I probably haven't played, and a lot that I'm probably forgetting. I did try to look up some lists, and it did help because I forgot so many games from this era because I was just in another world mentally. And I was also just struggling with some other personal issues too. So this was the era where I got more focused into music than I was into video games. I was also really big into anime at this time too. Um, I was watching a lot of like shonen animes that like are way too long. So that was pretty much my life. Um, I remember having Fairy Tail on one screen and Halo 5 on the other screen. And um, because Halo 5 was so uninteresting that I could literally just watch Fairy Tail and like not even have to pay attention to Halo 5 because that game doesn't deserve any attention. Yo, Halo 5 is like 11 years old now. That's insane. Oh, that's killing me. I have reached peak unk status, as the kids say. Um, so we're just gonna jump into some games right here. We're just gonna jump right in. Now I apologize if I name a title and it originally came out for like the Series X or it originally came out for the 360. I played it on the Xbox One. So to me, this is part of the Xbox One era. Like one game that I didn't mention on the 360 era video because I forgot it even came out for the 360, and that's GTA 5. I completely forgot GTA 5 came out on the 360. Um, to me, that has always been a like Xbox One era game. GTA 5 is the first GTA game I've ever played, mostly because I was not allowed to play GTA ever. I had a friend that had a GTA game for his like PSP or PS Vita. It might have been like Vice City Stories or what was this like San Andreas Stories or like one of those. Um, I think it was one of those. And like he would play it on the bus, and I think he would occasionally let me play it. Um, I think it was it San Andreas Stories or Los Santos Stories? I don't know, but I think it was one of those because like you were fighting one of the gang, one of the purple or green, the Ballas or families. I forget which one, but I know it wasn't uh the CJ one, San Andreas. It wasn't San Andreas, but I did play San Andreas more recently. I didn't beat it, but I played a bit of it. Uh, and I enjoyed it. But GTA 5, man, GTA 5 is just it's a whole vibe, you know. GTA 5 is I wasn't gonna talk about this one first, but I might as well, since this one did kind of start in the 360 era. GTA 5, I've played it on two different consoles now. Played through the story a number of times. Never got into the multiplayer. Not a big fan of it because I didn't like getting randomly killed by just random idiots every 2 seconds. And like when the game first came out, like man, it was so hard to connect to a server. You spent so long trying to connect to a stupid multiplayer server. It's terrible. But the story of GTA 5 is so good. The characters are amazing. The world is fantastic. It is it is hilarious and off the wall, but it is also gritty and emotional. Like it's a great game. I wouldn't say emotional, maybe dramatic. Um, but fun game, great game. I'm really excited for GTA 6. Um, I heard that it finally has a official date and it is in 2026 is what I've heard. Um, but yeah, um, excited for that. Great game, great world. Everyone already knows everything about GTA 5. That's one I don't really need to spend too much time on because that game has been played to death and is still great. Um, so we'll go into one of the like launch titles for the Xbox One, at least that I remember, Titanfall. I think Titanfall 2 also came out on the Xbox One. Pretty sure. I definitely prefer Titanfall 2 to Titanfall 1, but Titanfall 1 was so new. It was so different, so novel. It was like the next awesome, cool sci-fi shooter. Um, and it brought back the mech shooter kind of genre, but in a completely different way. This was the first time we had like first person mechs, and Um, but also the pilot gameplay was so fun with running on the buildings and grapple hooks and like all sorts of different stuff. And it actually like introduced like NPCs into the actual matches, which was kind of it was new at the time. And the campaign was interesting because it was literally a multiplayer game with characters talking over it with like which was really kind of weird. And I wasn't a big fan of it. That was also during the generation of games, like the era of games where like they introduced like cards. Like it wasn't loot boxes, it was like cards. You would like unlock a pack of cards and you could use the cards to get like upgrades in the game. And like Halo 5 did the same thing. It was kind of like the cards are basically like the gateway drug into loot boxes. but, um, but Titanfall 2's campaign was so fun. To this day, I still see people talking about the time travel level where you have to like you can switch between past and present and you have to like do parkour puzzles while switching between the two areas. Like every mission in Titanfall 2 was so memorable and so cool, and like introducing the different types of Titans, like the different classes of Titan was so cool. Great game, great story, just a really good fun original shooter campaign, which I feel like is just like so like few and far these days. Like first person shooters are just not. They're so rare that you get like a fresh, original feeling, like kind of novel experience. And then they ruined it and did Apex. And it's like everyone wanted Titanfall 3. Titanfall 3 would have been so successful. Everyone still wants Titanfall 3, and they just waste all their time on Apex. And can Battle Royale just die already? Like, oh, it's so frustrating. Um, Another big kind of launch title for the Xbox One, Destiny. This was also PlayStation 4. Destiny is a series that I have grown to hate over the years, but when it first came out, man, when it first came out, Destiny was so good. Destiny is kind of like Lars Ulrich. It was pretty cool when it started, pretty neat, original enough, but still familiar. Did some fun things, had a nice, unique kind of thing, and then just over time, just like got really bad, like really bad. Just doing things so unnecessarily, and just losing touch with everything around it, and just like it's slowly failing. Yeah, that's Destiny. Destiny was the best unfinished game ever. It was the hottest 7 out of 10. Destiny, like when you play the first half of Destiny, is so cool, and then you play the second half, and it's like, where's the rest of the game? Man, Bungie dropped the ball so hard. It's like, how you gonna make Halo probably the most iconic, most famous gaming franchise, at least on Xbox? Like one of the all time, like when you think of a shooter, when you think of a first person shooter, Halo's always one of the first ones you think of. Like even still, like Halo's one that people still think back on and reference, even though the series has gone so downhill. How are you gonna make Halo and then make Destiny? But no, but no. Destiny was one of the best games on early Xbox One. The shooting mechanics were so tight and fluid. The the maps were really cool, the environments. I mean, all the enemies were literally just Halo enemies, but they looked cool. It was one of my first kind of games of that style. Um, I mean, I had played, I think, Borderlands 2 before that, so it wasn't my first like looter shooter, but it added in a lot of like kind of fantasy RPG elements. Now, granted, I will say another dumb thing about Destiny 1, man, Destiny 1 is such a flawed game now that I think back on it, but it was so cool at the time. Oh, it was such a cool game. I loved it. Um, and the DLCs were top notch, even though like the game shouldn't have relied so much on DLC. It was such a useless cash grab, and the raids like were infuriating, especially if you didn't have friends like me. But um, in order to get the actual story and lore of the universe, they made you do homework. You had to go online. You had to basically unlock these lore cards in the game and then go on the internet to read about them. It's like how like when Ruby did a whole side series to explain its lore instead of putting it in the show. Destiny did the same thing with its lore. Just put it in the game. I don't need to listen to Peter Dinklage drone on about things being in the walls. Like in the most monotone, boring voice acting performance ever. uh Never forget Dinklebot. You had Peter Stormare in that game, and you gave him like a two-line role. Like that game had some amazing voice actors that were just merchants that like didn't do anything. Like that game had Peter Stormare, John DiMaggio, Nathan Fillion, Peter Dinklage, and Lance Reddick. Rest in peace. He had all these awesome voice actors, and they didn't do anything. And the one that did talk the most sucked. Granted, Nathan Fillion got to shine a little more later, and then he got replaced with uh, Nolan North, who is so eerily good at impersonating people. But yeah, they really they dropped the ball with those games. But fond memories nonetheless. 18-year-old Jordo loved that game so much. Um, it's so funny. I remember playing these games more at my cousin's house than in my own house. But I think that was just part of my issues at the time of being 18 and not wanting to be at home. Uh, I got that. Dragon Ball Xenoverse. Dragon Ball Z. So that's the next game I'm going to talk about. You like how I just scream a game title at you and I didn't even tell you what's going on. Next game I'm going to talk about Dragon Ball Xenoverse and 2. Even though the first Xenoverse should be called Xenoverse Point .5, and Xenoverse 2 should be called Xenoverse. um, talk about releasing unfinished games. Uh, Xenoverse basically pulled an Overwatch where they basically just released the same game twice. But, um, Xenoverse 2 is so much better though. But so I got into anime very late into high school. Um, I actively avoided anime for many years because I saw the kind of people that liked anime and did not want to be affiliated with those people. And it's only gotten worse. But but no, I fell hard into it and became a full-blown weeb. But um one of the first ones I started with Dragon Ball. And that was mostly because of like the Dragon Ball video games that my cousins would always like force me to play. So like Xenoverse was really special to me because Xenoverse was set up to be more of like an RPG kind of, and I was very new to RPGs at the time. I did not like RPGs for the longest time because they were just too much for me. There was like all the different like inventory and upgrade stuff and crafting stuff was always like so like I just did not I could not be bothered to learn it. and like the games were so big and the worlds were too big and there's like dumb side quests and I spend so much time with the side quests I never actually progressed the game, but then I couldn't progress the game because I didn't do any secret. It was like I struggled with getting into the RPG genre for so long, but I pretty much only play RPGs these days now. Um, but Dragon Ball Xenoverse, it was like my first exposure getting into like kind of like JRPGs, and it was also like me getting into Dragon Ball, and it was just really neat, really cool experience. And Xenoverse 2 was so much better. Basically, the Xenoverse games it's part of another. There's like Dragon Ball is so crazy with its canon. Holy crap! Dragon Ball's canon is so broken and twisted and convoluted. It's such a problem. But there's like a side canon, like an extended universe with like all these other characters, like some characters that are like completely new for this universe. I think it's called like Heroes and Dragon Ball Heroes, and they made like an anime for it, but it was only in Japan. And basically, there's a bunch of alternate universe characters from other timelines, and the Xenoverse games are part of that canon. Although the games will never tell you that. And you basically go through the story of Dragon Ball and try to like keep the timeline the same. Um, I think the most famous thing about Xenoverse 1 is how inconsistent and horrible the drop rates were. There's like you had to do certain quests to get certain items, but you'd have to end up playing the same quest over and over and over and over and over and over, and you still would never get the item. And there was like one particular one with like Vegeta or something, and it was so infuriating. It gives me connections. But Xenoverse 2 was a lot better in that regard. Xenoverse 2 was just better in general. And the open hub, the hub world was so much better too. Although the best Dragon Ball RPG, best Dragon Ball game is on the next generation, I believe. I think it's Series X. I could be wrong. Kakarot. Um, I actually don't know when Kakarot came out. I knew it took me a long time to play Kakarot, because I just didn't want play another. I didn't want to play another Xenoverse. I was so scared that it was just going to be another like slogging through the story again. Oh, it did originally release for PS4 and Xbox One. When did it come out? 2020? Yeah, so that was around the time that yeah, so it did originally release for this generation. All right, so yeah, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. I guess I'll talk about that one too. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot was awesome because it wasn't. It really felt more like a current era like JRPG, and it had similar fighting mechanics to Xenoverse, but I think it built upon the mechanics a lot better. And it actually had like kind of it wasn't fully open world. You still had to like transition to other maps, but like the maps were really big, and it was like a full lived-in world. Like it wasn't just like going into a hub area and then like jumping into missions. Like you were in a big vast world that was just split into like separate maps, but you could fully travel around each map, fly around, ride the Nimbus, whatever. And there was like side quests and there was other things you could do. You could like fish and hunt, and like you really felt like you were part of the world of Dragon Ball. Like you actually felt like you lived in that universe, and it was really cool. But you would still go through the campaign story, but they added other stuff. They added some like little bits of like the Xenoverse, like timeline stuff, very small amount that was just like side objective stuff after you beat the game. And then the DLCs were cool. The DLCs were the same like format, but they were isolated. They're like their own worlds. Um, and the fact that they did an original Dragon Ball DLC was so cool. They really, I forgot how long they stretched the lifespan of that game with the DLCs, but but yeah, getting to play like original Dragon Ball was really fun. Uh, really nice, especially since that's my favorite Dragon Ball series. But um, yeah, Kakarot was a great game. I really hope they make like a Kakarot 2, or they like make another game similar. I think I kind of touched on this in I think in my episode 3, my anime game video. I wish they would do like every anime make a video game like Kakarot for like every anime. That was one thing I really liked about Naruto. Was it Ninja Storm? Is that what the game's called? Um, and it had like after you beat like the story mode of like going through the last arc of the game or of the anime, it had like an RPG mode where you went through Konoha and you like traveled to other villages and you would like do like little quests for people and like do little battles. Like that game was really cool because it was really like two games in one. And as much as I'm not a Naruto fan at all and really don't like Naruto, I loved that game. That was a really cool game. I really liked the RPG. See, this is my thing with Naruto. I always really liked the world of Naruto. I liked the lore. I liked the characters, but the show just fumbles it, at least from my perspective. Um, so yeah, that was tangent number one, I think. Buckle in. Um, holy crap! I have so many games to get through. Call of Duty. Let's talk about Call of Duty. The Xbox One era of Call of Duty was it definitely had a lot of twists and turns. It was not as bad as current Call of Duty, but it had a few games that fumbled pretty hard, at least in the public eye. I think this era of Call of Duty starts with Ghosts, which is one of the most divisive Call of Duties, I think. Ghosts is my probably my favorite, or at least top 3 or top 5 Call of Duty games. I remember I tend to judge games by the campaign. Though I did play a lot of Ghost multiplayer. I loved the DLC maps. I loved all the multiplayer maps on COD Ghosts. Like they did a lot of original stuff on there. To this day I don't know why that game is hated as much as it is, but I loved the campaign, the story, the vibe, the multiplayer was fun, the maps were amazing. Solid campaign or Call of Duty title, and I really did like Extinction Mode. I really thought Extinction was fun. It was a cool new thing. Um, and then like Call of Duty just really kind of fumbled in this era. But um, probably the most hated Call of Duty besides Ghost, like easily the most hated of this era, uh, Infinite Warfare. I gotta say, I played through the Infinite Warfare story a few years ago for the first time. That game, the campaign of the game, is easily top 5 Call of Duty campaigns. It is such a good campaign story. Great characters, great moments, such a fun campaign. And that game gets so crapped on for no reason. Like, justice for Infinite Warfare. And then, of course, Modern Warfare 2019, definitely the best Call of Duty of this era. Um, at least from a multiplayer standpoint. Um, I had so much fun in Modern Warfare 2019. Uh, just oh man, I spent like every day I would just play with my friends like all night on Xbox Live, and I mean Shipment and Shoot House, man, Shoot House was such a good man. That I platinumed every SMG in that game. Every time they released a new SMG, I'd go in and platinum it. Like I loved Modern Warfare 20. That was like peak. That was the best Call of Duty since like Black Ops 2. Like at least in terms of like multiplayer and community. Like Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 2, and Modern Warfare 2019 are like the top 3. And yeah, in Modern Warfare 2019 will go down in history as the last good Call of Duty. Modern Warfare 2 was good. The remake Modern Warfare 2 reboot, that campaign was good to a degree. There were some elements of it I did not like. I didn't like the stealth kind of like scavenger levels, but 2019 peak. Last time Call of Duty had a good game. I'm gonna save like the biggest one for last. Witcher 3. Witcher 3, one of my all-time favorite games, one of the best RPGs ever. Great, great game. Huge open world. All the side quests were so fun and original. The writing was genius. Just a great world, great characters. I never beat the DLCs for that one, but just the base game alone was so good. Love Geralt, love Ciri. Uh, Great game, so much fun. Um, and in that game, if you played that game, you would know that it is lore accurate. Ciri does become the next Witcher. That made me so mad when people were outraged that Ciri was going to be the main character of Witcher 4. It's like, no crap. That's how Witcher 3 ends. Idiots. Um, all right. I'm going to briefly mention Warframe. Warframe, in my opinion, is the only good live service game. It is the best live service game. It is the only one I will play. I mean, I played Helldivers 2 a bit, but I think Warframe offers way more, has so many more game modes, has so much content to offer. If part of the game starts to get stale, you can go do a completely different thing. Like fun gameplay, like it's just a good fun game. If you just want to shoot stuff, run through, shoot stuff, and then it has open world elements, it has open world areas, it has like fishing, it has like space missions, it's like jetpack missions, and then it's just got like its traditional shooting missions. It's Warframe is what Destiny should have been. Warframe is everything Destiny tried to be and better. Um, Warframe is, of all those types of games, Warframe is hands down the best one. And that's all I will say about it. It also did the like covenant system correctly, or like the faction system. Like Destiny tried to do a faction system, and all it did was give you more skins. Like Warframe's factions are more like Dark Souls covenants, and like you'll actually get hunted down by rival factions, and like it's so much better. All right, that's out of the way. Let's mark the ones I talked about so I know where I'm at in the list. Um, let's talk about the only good Halo from this generation. As many people may know, Halo fell off hard after Reach, um, after 4. I'll give 4 some credit. 4 is not bad. But Halo Wars 2, released in 2017. Best Halo of the post Bungie era, in my opinion. And it wasn't, you know why it's the best? Because it wasn't made by 343. Halo Wars 2 is set after the events of Halo 5 in a galaxy far, far away. Um, the Spirit of Fire crew, Red Team, like the Halo Wars story is so much better than the current Halo story. Um, had some awesome cinematics, some great moments. You know, and the multiplayer's fun. It's a fun game. I'm not a big RTS guy, and I know the Halo Wars games are a little more basic than some of the other RTS games out there, but It's a really cool way to experience the Halo universe. And I almost feel like you get to like do more with the Halo like sandbox in those games. And I really wish they'd make a Halo Wars 3 so bad. Like stop doing what you're doing. Just make Halo Wars 3. Just keep making Halo Wars games. You're better off at this point. Um all right, so I'll briefly talk about so these games. Should I save this for the end? This is gonna be. I'll try to keep it quick. Okay, these games didn't originally release on the Xbox One, but they had ports for the Xbox One, and I played these games like during the Xbox One era. Um, and that is the. I should probably save these for my. I was planning on doing like PC and indie games and like all the other games that I didn't think were like fit in with like the Xbox stuff, and I will actually probably save these for. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about these. I was going to start talking about Spike Chunsoft games, specifically like Danganronpa and Zero Escape. I'll save those for the PC indie video that I'm going to do. Um, Batman Arkham Knight, Batman Arkham Knight, the last good Batman game. No, Gotham Heroes or whatever it's called was good, but that was made by different people. Um, So Rocksteady obviously made like an amazing trilogy of Arkham Asylum, City, and Night, and Arkham Knight was a solid, great game. Is definitely like technology wise, like in terms of the actual gameplay and the graphics and the mechanics, is definitely the best of the three. It dropped the ball on some things, like the the Deathstroke fight, but um, it was really cool game. Great twist with the Arkham Knight character. Had the worst Riddler puzzles, I will say, the worst Riddler side quest. Um, but and the DLC packs are really fun. You actually have to play as Red Hood in one of them. I loved the Professor Pig storyline, the whole like serial killer kind of thing. Like, loved it. Had some great uh like side missions. The Man Bat mission, all the DLCs, like uh the the ice oh, what's his name, Mr. Freeze, the Mr. Freeze DLC in that game, no joke, legitimately made me cry. Like, it is hard to make me cry and get emotional over like games and stuff. The very end with Victor and Nora, holy crap, it brought me to tears. And also Joker, just Joker being in Batman's head the whole game, so added such a great element to the story and to the game. I absolutely adored it and loved it, every second of it. Having Joker as your like mental sidekick was so, oh my, I love that part of Arkham Knight. I love Joker. Mark Hamill's voice work as Joker is just so good. It's just the iconic Joker voice, like, so funny. Such a great element to add to that game. Such a great idea. Um, and yeah, I never really talked about Arkham City. I didn't talk about it in my last video. Arkham City is really cool. Um, it is a great upgrade from Asylum. The Deathstroke fight was complete butt cheeks. The Hush stuff was really cool. I really liked that the Hush quest like carried over into Night and that it actually like finished properly in Night. I really liked that. Hush is such a cool character. Um, all right. Um, Devil May Cry 5. I think that came out in like 2020. When did Devil May Cry 5 come out? Was that 2019? Might have been even earlier. Yeah, Devil May Cry 5. Um, it's just it's Devil May Cry. It's just good, awesome hack and slash action. But the graphics were so good. The environments were so cool. Getting to play as three different characters with three unique different play styles was awesome. Um, and as weird as like the story is like kind of like, I mean, the story in a did anyone play Devil May Cry for the story? Like, really? Um, I just recently played through the original trilogy again, and I played through a good chunk of four. Again, I've beaten all five games, but I was going through back through them again. Um, and yeah, the story in five is really kind of dumb and weird when you really put it into like terms of like Virgil. Virgil helps fight Virgil so that Virgil can become Virgil and then turn Virgil back into Virgil. I saw, is it Maxor? Is that the YouTuber that did like the Devil May Cry 5 video that like just blew a hole right through the plot? And, um, but yeah. Um, Also, am I the only one that thinks that Dante looked like Nathan Fillion a little bit in those games? Or in Devil May Cry 5 specifically? Um, but yeah, no. Um, the game also continued Nero's character in a totally predictable path, but it was really cool nonetheless. Um, but yeah, Devil May Cry 5 is just a lot of fun. Really solid game. Probably my favorite Devil May Cry. Um, all right. Outlast. Love Outlast. Outlast was one of the first horror games that I really got into. And as much as I'm not a big fan of the whole run and hide, you can't fight back type of horror games, this is easily the best one of those. Such a fun game. The camera mechanics really cool. The whole I love being locked in the insane asylum. Insane asylums, sanitariums, those are always my favorite setting for horror, which is part of why I loved Arkham Asylum, and like Evil Within has a lot of like sanitarium stuff. I think that is this era. I'm not going to talk about Evil Within much. Right now, I'm going to save that for my horror games video. But I specifically wanted to talk about Outlast. Outlast 2 was pretty good. Outlast Trials I only played a little bit, but that game's more of just a multiplayer game. But Outlast 1 in particular, just the feeling of being locked in the asylum, in each like kind of enemy character was like pretty memorable, and the DLC, the Whistleblower DLC, that's one of the best DLCs ever. And that it ties everything together. It's both a prequel and a sequel. Like, great games. Uh, or great game, great characters. It's just so much fun. I I I have played through Outlast 1 and Whistleblower countless times. One of my probably most played horror games. Just love them, especially Outlast 1. Outlast 2 did some cool stuff. Outlast 2 definitely just like made it. Outlast 2 was just weird. Like, it wasn't so much that Outlast 2 was more scary, it was just weird and gross, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I liked the psychological elements in the school. Some of that stuff was really cool, and I loved the transition between the school and the real world. But nah, Outlast 1 is definitely the best. And what's his name? Um Traeger? Great villain. I love Traeger. I love the witty, sarcastic, prick like characters. Like when he wheels you to the door and he's like, "You want to go outside?" No, no, okay. And when he just randomly finds you, he's like, "Buddy!" Like, that's how I greet my dog every time I see him. Like, uh, just a fun character, fun game, twisted world, great ending. And the ending is just even better with the whistleblower DLC. But yeah, again, Outlast 3 could have been really good, but they decided to just cash grab on the whole multiplayer. See, the whole multiplayer era of like gaming in like the last like few years, I feel like is such a made up fad, made up trend. Like no one actually likes those kinds of games. Everyone wants People don't want multiplayer games. The only people that want multiplayer games are Twitch streamers. Like stop. Um Alien Isolation, another survival horror game. Not much else to be said other than it's a great survival horror game. Um, the whole implementation of the alien and how it follows you around like the open world is really cool and creepy. Um, I didn't know anything about Alien when I played it, but I went and I watched the first Alien movie while I was like playing the game and seeing the callbacks to the first movie in like some of the text logs and how like the whole environment and design just like fits so perfectly. It's like so it definitely has such an iconic look to it. Um, and no, it was just a really fun survival horror game. I love survival horror games, and that one nailed it. Um, all right, I got to talk about a Lego game real quick. I feel like it's kind of this is the last Xbox generation I'm going to bring up Lego games because I don't enjoy any Lego game after this. So this is probably the unanimous like most loved Lego game, and that's Lego Marvel Superheroes. Um, riding off the heels of like the first Avengers movie, you get to explore all of Manhattan in Lego style. I used to joke and say that it was like Lego GTA. Um, great side quests, going around unlocking characters, doing puzzles around the city. The Deadpool missions were so much fun, so funny. Um, getting to play as all the different superheroes and use the different powers. This was like the first Lego game I played that had like voice acting, and I really don't like that the Lego games have voice acting now, but Lego Marvel Superheroes and Lego Batman 3 are like I think the last two good Lego games, and the highlights of this era. But man, I 100%ed Lego Marvel Superheroes like two or three times. Love that game. Such a big game. Uh, just so fun getting all the characters and stuff. I have not had that same passion for a Lego game since I'm playing through the. I started playing through the Lego Harry Potter games because I like didn't really play those when they came out, and I've just been ripping through the story. I haven't had any desire to like do any free play or like any like completion stuff. Like, but Lego Marvel Superheroes, man, all day, so good. Um, next, kind of trying to save some of the heavy hitters for last. Attack on Titan 2. The Attack on Titan 2 video game is so incredible. It again, anime games need to do more of this. The Attack on Titan 2 game is a full-blown RPG in the Attack on Titan universe. I think it only covers to like season 3. Um, the ending is fabricated for the game, but it is a great ending. Um, you literally jump into the world of Attack on Titan. You walk around as a soldier. You like talk to all the different characters and interact with them and build up friendships with them. and you can like just explore different parts um of Paradise, and um but then like the missions, the gameplay plays just like you would imagine Attack on Titan playing. Like zipping around the rooftops, zipping around on the Titans and having to hit the weak points and switching your blades out. And you can even use like the guns, like um and ride on horses. Like such a great like game adaptation of that anime. And it does follow the story. And then there's also like side quests and stuff. There's a bunch of different like kind of like optional missions and like DLC missions, but it's oh man, probably is easily one of my favorite anime video games of all time. It's just like is so much fun. It's a great way to get immersed into that world. I love that game. I think I like that game more than I like Attack on Titan. But I will say Attack on Titan is probably like top 10 or top 15 anime for me. The ending sucked, but everything up to that point was phenomenal. Once they got into the time travel stuff, I'm not going to get into it. I will not. I can't. I will sit here for hours talking about how stupid the time travel is in Attack on Titan. It is so infuriating. I'm not going to get into it. I I will be here forever, and I will lose my brain. Um, all right. So I think we're only left with 4 games now. Almost done. Um, let's talk about this generation's Resident Evil games. I think the best Resident Evil games, save the first one and the remakes of 2, 3, and 4. Um, Resident Evil 7 and 8. Resident Evil 7 is easily the scariest Resident Evil of all time, but I that's also probably one of the ones I've played the most. Resident Evil 7 is so good. The first person is really fun. It makes it way more scary. I really like the first person. I kind of wish that like some of the remakes did that. Like my thing with the remakes, and this also goes for like Silent Hill 2, like if you're not gonna make it fixed camera, why not make it first person? Like I hate that they went over the shoulder for the remakes of the original games. Like Tormented Souls is one of my favorite survival horror games ever because it brought back the fixed camera. Tormented Souls will be in my horror game video, even though it is this generation. But I love the fixed cameras. It's just such, to me, it's not about like tech limitations. To me, that is a staple of survival horror. And the fact that the series has like tried so hard to avoid fixed camera angles like really upsets me. But first person is scary. I will argue first person is infinitely more scary than any other camera perspective. Um, I love Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 8 just added so much more. It added like an open world element. It brought back a lot of elements from the fourth game. And it like each like kind of chapter of that game, every like kind of I guess legacy dungeon is like a different genre of horror and like kind of beckons back to a different Resident Evil or different horror genre in the gaming space. But um and you know and I'm gonna say it, I like Ethan Winters as a character. I know. I know. What's wrong with me? I know. I'm terrible. I'm a horrible piece of crap human being. Uh, but no, Resident Evil 7 I've played through a million times, and it had a bunch of cool DLCs. I still think their depiction of Chris in that game is appalling, but Joe Baker is still one of my favorite like characters slash villains of all time, at least in survival horror. Um, but I can just the way I can still hear vividly just the Ethan, oh Ethan, I can smell you. Uh, but yeah, it is Resident Evil, and it brought the puzzles back and stuff. Like it was, man, Resident Evil 7 was so good. But all right, probably the game I've played the most of this generation, a game that definitely sucked me in and never let go. Dark Souls 3. Oh, probably my favorite game of this generation. Definitely my favorite Dark Souls game. Probably my favorite FromSoft game, besides Armored Core 6. Dark Souls 3. It is honestly, Dark Souls 3 is more of a sequel to Dark Souls 1 than 2 is, because it brings back so much stuff and it's so much, like, I guess, fan service, but it, like, ties up so many loose ends from the first game. Dark Souls 3 is phenomenal. The combat's perfect, making it a little faster pace, not as much as Bloodborne, but more than the first two. The graphics, the art design, the sound design, the weapons, the armors, the bosses, the characters, the DLCs. Oh, the Ring City DLC is one of the best DLCs ever made. Maybe I should do a best DLCs video. But um man, Dark Souls 3, I've definitely spent more time. That's probably the FromSoft game I've spent the most time in. Well, besides Elden Ring, but I think that's mostly because Elden Ring is just so much longer and bigger. And I'll talk about that too, because I that was another game that came out during like the time that it was hard to get a Xbox Series X. Elden Ring is literally just Dark Souls but bigger. Um, but I love Elden Ring, and that DLC was a monster of a DLC. I don't know what it is with DLCs being better than like the actual game, but FromSoft always kills it with its DLCs. And the fact that people had doubts in it is shame on you. Elden Ring just added so much more to like the Dark Souls formula and how like those games play and the feel. It's just like a really cool open world game. It was the perfect. Honestly, it's I couldn't have thought of a more perfect like interpretation of open world Dark Souls. Um, Even though a lot of the dungeons get a little repetitive. And the game was rough when it first came out, when it didn't have like all the like the tracker markers and stuff like. But um, great games. I love the From Software games, specifically Dark Souls 3. I love, as much as I love Elden Ring and would love an Elden Ring 2, I'd also like a Dark Souls 4, and an Armored Core 7. Um, all right, so what's last? Did I get through everything except for the big heavy hitter? And while I'm editing this, I'll probably think of some other game from that era, and I'll be like, "Oh darn it! I can't believe I forgot Alan Wake in the 360 video. Oh, I'm so ashamed of myself for that." But not my next podcast episode, but one after, I will be covering horror games, so I will talk about Alan Wake properly and Alan Wake 2. So the last game I'm going to mention for this era, definitely the heavy hitter of this era, and that is, of course, Red Dead Redemption 2. What else do you think I was going to talk about, boy? Red Dead Redemption 2, such a great game. Um, Granted, there's some stuff about it that's a little tedious. They went a little too crazy with the realism on some stuff, but um, like I said in my 360 era, I only recently went through Red Dead 1, played it after 2, which I think it plays just fine as a sequel. Red Dead 2, of course, being a prequel. The characters are just so iconic. Each character is so amazing and iconic. You know, I don't know. I really don't know what I can say about Red Dead 2 that isn't already said that people don't already know. Like, it's just the story is just so well written. The descent of Dutch, like the moral dilemmas of Arthur, um, kind of the origin story of John, and all the other fun characters along the way. Um, some gruesome death scenes. Just like it has such a feeling of like wonder and adventure, but it also has feelings of like dread and fear and like such a well written game. Rockstar just like Rockstar just kills it. If only they could actually release games. But man, hey, I understand why it takes them 10 years to make a game now. Like if the games are that good, makes sense. But ooh, they they used to make like 2 games a year, like, and now they're making like 1 game every like 3 decades. Like, but yeah, Red Dead 2, a great game. I feel like I never know what to say other than it's a great game. Um, yeah, some of the day-to-day life stuff got a little tedious, but it was fun just living in the old west, and it was cool. I like the thing with Red Dead 1 is like it's just you. It's such a lonely game. And I get that that's kind of the point. But Red Dead 2, like being part of a family, having a whole gang, all these cool characters by your side, and getting into shenanigans, and then watching it all crumble and fall apart, like, just phenomenal. And, and definitely like some of the best characters, like Sadie and Charles, um, great characters. Uncle, of course, Uncle will always be the best character. Probably the best Rockstar character ever. Lumbago. It's a slow and painful death, brother. Lumbago. But yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. I think I've said everything I need to say. Um, so yeah, quick little housekeeping at the end here. So my next podcast video is going to be a little more of a single topic, a little more of a serious topic video. Not a lore dive, but more exploring the works of a single game developer and getting into kind of like the philosophy of his games, um, which I'm excited for. I just beat his most recent game today, uh, so that I could make the video. But I'll get into that when that comes out. I'm not gonna be able to work on it this weekend, but soon, hopefully. Then I'll do like my favorite like horror games, and then I'll do like PC and indie games and like other games. I was gonna do best games of the Xbox Series X era, but that era is still going on. So I don't think it's fair to really talk about the best games of an era when that era isn't done yet. Which sucks because there's so many good games that have came out like in 2023. 2023 was like the best year for games like in the last like few years. And obviously more recent games too, like Expedition 33 and stuff like that. And hopefully I'll have some other awesome games to talk about, like maybe GTA 6 if I'm still alive. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it for me today. Thanks for joining me on another episode of the Pocky Emu Podcast. I've been the Snoopy Emu. Also, I totally said the Snoopy Emu Podcast in one of my recent videos. Didn't mean to. Uh, but I'm a bit stupid sometimes. So I'm gonna go, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.